Bill Guerin and the Minnesota Wild have had a very busy day, extending some of the longest tenured Minnesota Wild players that are currently on the team. This don't come without a bit of questions and a bit of concern from myself and other Minnesota fans, as we know we're in quite of a predicament right now with cap space, but I'll be going over everything that happened today, and that's probably going to happen in the coming days and weeks in this video. But before we get into it, we notice that 97% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, so if you're looking for a spot to get all the breaking news of trades, signings, everything else that you can think of, you're in the right spot. Make sure to stay a while, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the breaking news. But like I said, the Minnesota Wild we know, a lot of people know, I'm sure, that the Minnesota Wild are in a major cap issue right now, from the buyouts of Zach Parise and Ryan Suter. So that does put us in a major cap predicament. But today, the Minnesota Wild signed two big players for our franchise, two extensions that may be a bit concerning to Minnesota fans. I know I'm still pondering if this is the right decision, but I'll be going over both of these. And we started off the day early in the morning here with a Matt Zuccarello extension, 2 years at $8.25 million with a $4.125 million AAV. And I'm sure a lot of Minnesota fans know that Matt Zuccarello kind of took a bit of a dip at the end of last season. His production kind of went down. He just didn't play great, but, you know, paired with Kirill Kaprizov, he can make anybody shine, and that's what Matt Zuccarello is still very good on this team, even though his point production is very low. Now, one thing to note about this one, it's a lot of money. It really is a lot of money, and for a player who is currently 36 years old, he's going to be expiring on that contract when he's either 38 or 39. I can't remember exactly when it would be, but you can see he's been a pretty good player over the past few years. 67 points this year, or last season, 79 the year before, but this is a lot of money for someone who's 36 years old. Someone whose production went down a bit at the end of last season and likely will be only going down for the rest of his career, as just because of age, not because of anything else, but simply just because he is quite an old player at the moment. But Matt Zuccarello, we know, is a big part of this team, like I said, because he's playing with Kirill Kaprizov. He's pretty much been on the line with Kirill since Kirill made the NHL, and I think that is the reason they signed him. You know, they don't want to change too much, as we can't really afford to change too much. We can't really afford to go out and get some of these players that you may want to sign for your second and third line, solely because we don't have too much cap space. That's why we have guys like Zuccarello, who likely will be making the NHL this year. I would say it's probably a 95% chance. And Marco Rossi, who has been playing very well in training camp and likely, and hopefully, I would say, will make the NHL roster this year. Someone from our own system, not having to go out and sign someone for the bottom six, just for now. But it is very stressful, just because a lot of money putting on these two players and not having that much money. But I'll go into our next signing here, which is Marcus Foligno. This only came out a few moments ago, and Matt Zuccarello was this morning. But Marcus Foligno, 4x4, 4 years, which is a lot of term as well for another pretty old guy for $4 million, more than he's making currently. So another one where it is an overpay. I really hate to say it. I think both of these are overpays, but it's integral that these guys will remain on the team. And I'll explain why in a little bit. But you also see at the end of this tweet here is Ryan Hartman next. Now, I do also have a tweet here. I don't have it in my screenshots, but I have it here on Twitter, and I'll read it out to you. GM Bill Guerin indicated that Ryan Hartman is next to get extended. They're in talks, and it's heading that way. Not sure if it's coming in a few days or a week, etc. He's an identity player for us, Bill Guerin said. And that comes from Joe Smith on Twitter. But, like, another one, that's going to be a lot more money. We know how Ryan Hartman's on a team-friendly deal. $1.7 million for 3 years is what he originally signed. He's going to want more than what he's making now. But first, before we go into the whole Ryan Hartman bit, Marcus Foligno. It's a player that he's not going to put up a lot of points. We know he's not going to put up a lot of points, but he's there for a reason. He's our big guy. He's our dog on the team. He's a fan favorite. Everybody loves him. And I think it was another important signing. You know, to get a player like that, you probably wouldn't pay less. But Marcus Foligno, you know, he's been around the team. Not a Minnesota guy. He's from Buffalo, but he seems like a Minnesota guy at this point. He's been here long enough to be classified as a Minnesota guy. But it is a very questionable term and contract price, the salary. For Marcus Foligno and Matt Zuccarello, it's just over $8 million for those two. None of them below the age of 32. Matt Zuccarello, 36. Marcus Foligno, 32. So it is it is a questionable decision. I will say that. I don't really know if we should have signed them yet. I know you want job security. I know you want your term. And these are two guys that you don't really want to let walk, because having to go sign someone, not having the ability to outbid on someone for a team with a team that has the cap, that's a pretty important thing that you need to have flexibility with in free agency. And the Minnesota Wild just don't have that right now. So I do think that they don't want to change too much. They want to make sure that this team can make it back to the playoffs again. Making it to the playoffs with $14 million, as you can see right here, for this year, close on 15, and next season, with last season being just under 13, I believe. It is a big part that we can make the playoffs, not having what would be the cap to sign any player in the NHL. That is a major part of this. So I think you got to keep what's working, and that is what we have right now. Obviously, with a few changes here and there, but this is the whole thing that's working, and you don't really want to change that when you don't have to, and you don't have the flexibility to. So that's why I think it is a bit questionable, but it's a must. You're gonna have to pay the price to get where you want to be. It kind of sucks right now that we have to do this, but you have to lock up the players that you need. That's just fact. But Michael Russo also said one tweet here, this is only about 20 minutes ago as well. Minnesota have roughly $16 million in cap space next offseason, with 8 forwards, 5 defensemen, and 1 goalie signed. So at the end of the day, that's not too bad. That's 2.5 lines. You need 1 more line of forwards, 1 more defenseman, and then another goalie. That's the NHL roster. We have lots of players signed also in the AHL, so maybe some of the younger guys are going to make their way up over the next coming years, which I think is a must. There's a lot of good prospects we have that I'm super excited to see. But this right here makes it don't look like it's too bad with this. $16 million to sign 6 players. It'll work. It's not ideal, but it'll work. So the Minnesota Wild, their contracts. Sorry, that's the wrong screenshot. This one here. We're in good shape. We have an excellent contract in Joel Eriksson. We have an excellent contract in Matt Boldy. And Kirill Kaprizov, another fantastic contract at $9 million. I think he could command easily upwards of 10. And with the cap going up, projected to be $4 million from this year going into next season, these contracts may look a bit better than what they do right now. But we don't know that yet. We don't know if these contracts will end up being affected by the rise in cap. Hopefully they do. Hopefully the cap goes up $4 million. That'll be a lot better for us. Basically, making these contracts seem just like $2 million contracts what would be right now. So hopefully that is the case. We don't really know. But Ryan Hartman next. He'll want a bigger deal than what he's right now. He's at 1.7, like I said. So he'll probably want upwards of 3. I think this one will probably be the toughest of the few, just because he's on a team-friendly deal that he's already taken one, and he wants his payday, and he's well deserving of it as well. But Ryan Hartman's the one of age that I think can get a long-term contract for a decent salary. Marcus Foligno, more acceptable, but Matt Zuccarello, it is a bit tough. 36 years old, the production went down last year. Kind of hurt to watch him play in some instances. Few giveaways that were definitely costly, but I think playing with Kirill Kaprizov, it'll work out fine. Everything will figure it out. I trust the team. I trust Ian Evason. We have a very solid tandem in net. Great defense, a lot of good prospects, and a lot of great forwards. So hopefully the cap don't get in the way too much, the cap buyout of $14.7 million. But I think we're in good shape. I really hope we're in good shape. That's what I just want to believe. That's what I'm going to think. But that's all we got for this video. I will be making another video if we do have any more massive updates for the Minnesota Wild. Obviously, they're my team, so we're following them closely, I gotta say. So if you're a Minnesota Wild fan, make sure to subscribe, because join me fight against Nick and Noah, the Montreal fans of the channel. But that's all we got for this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a like, and also make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and you don't want to miss out on any of the breaking news from around the league or any other league around the world. But thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day, and see you later.